With the increasing number of lockdowns and border restrictions to contain COVID-19, countries in Asia, especially across ASEAN, may face major food shortages. And in this edition of DPO Insights, we take a look at how COVID-19 is impacting ASEAN's food supply chain. This update is brought to you by DPO International, Asia's premier food distributor with over 25 offices and warehouses in the region. Alright, what's going on foodies? I'm Farah Nabila Wazir and you're watching DPO Insights, your telescope to the happenings of Asia's tantalizing food industry. 6 out of 10 ASEAN countries have already announced some form of COVID-19 related control measures and restrictions. Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam and also Laos either already have or have plans to implement lockdowns of some degree. And concerns of food shortages in the region came fast, shortly after Vietnam and India both faced disruptions in their rice exportation due to the coronavirus outbreak. And other countries in Central Asia have also expressed their concerns over their respective domestic supply. Nations like Kazakhstan, Russia and Ukraine recently announced their plans to limit wheat exports, another staple ingredient in the Asian diet. The mounting worry, along with the greater demand through panic buying and hoarding, have led to the spike in rice and wheat prices, although supplies are ample. The price for 5% broken white rice, the industry benchmark, has rose 12% from March 25th to April 1st, hitting a 7-year high as importers rush to stockpile the grain while importers curb shipments due to the coronavirus outbreak. Director of Potato Center, a non-profit group researching food security, Samarendu Mohanty, highlighted that the movement restrictions set by the governments do help to slow down the spread of COVID-19, but may have adverse effects on agriculture. He also reported that China is now facing labor shortages and supply line disruptions for spring planting. And because of the grain's strict planting and harvesting calendar, movement restrictions may impact production rate. The Thai Rice Exporters Association had also acknowledged difficulties in procuring labor amid the virus outbreak as Cambodian laborers head home due to a nationwide lockdown. And to cope with the panic, certain Southeast Asian countries have set aside preventive measures. The Philippines, Vietnam's biggest market, is allocating more than $600 million for food sufficiency efforts. The Philippines is planning to buy 300,000 tons of rice, possibly through state deals with Southeast Asian suppliers or through sources such as Pakistan. The Vietnamese government spokesman Chalun Yabao had warned local merchants to avoid hoarding of goods or unreasonable price hikes, especially when it came to necessities like food and medicines. Noting the potential ripple effects of containing COVID-19, especially on Asia's food supply, Food Industry Asia (FIA) and Asian Food and Beverages Association (AFBA) are urging governments across the region to ensure unhindered production and supply of food during times of crisis. Matt Kovac, FIA Executive Director, highlighted that the manufacturing of food and beverages products, ingredients and other raw materials, as well as distribution by the retail sector, must continue uninterrupted. Interruption in the food supply chain was recently illustrated in Malaysia, where local vegetable farmers and fishermen had to dispose produce and stocks due to roadblocks, shorter market operating hours, and lack of manpower for offloading trucks. Delivery trucks are now subjected to rigorous checks by the authorities, which will not only cause late delivery, but also deterioration in the quality of fresh produce. Governments need to work with food manufacturers and suppliers to keep the food supply chain running. If the food supply chain is not interrupted, then there is no real threat to food security. This edition of DPO Insights is made possible by DPO International, Asia's premier food distributor that connects local markets to global food innovations. For food business solutions and even market expansion, head on over to www.dpointernational.com. This is Farah Nabila Wazir for DPO International. Don't panic, okay?